Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rapid Fire Golf, week or episode 25 with moi. We are back inside in our famous indoor studio now because we have some storms outside. We had a nice 2 weeks outside the past 2 weeks. I think it looked really good and was cool outside. We'll get back out there once the weather gets rocking. But we're here nonetheless with the storms outside. Got some new intranet stuff that Mary set up, so fingers crossed. Ordered some new stuff, so hopefully no more connection issues. Tom, just not even buttering me up, man, just right into it. For those that know, like Tom, just post some questions up rapid fire. You guys fire away questions. I will answer semi-rapidly, and we'll talk about some stuff in between. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the British Open and watched it. I had fun, enjoyed watching Shane Lowry win, who will come up again later on for us. Today was our video we did on distance. Hopefully you guys saw our distance masterclass did launch this morning. We made a plan to be doing masterclasses on almost a once-a-month basis. We've stuck to that even in the busy season, which is cool. So we did the distance masterclass, 20 videos in the main course, all about hitting the ball farther, getting more distance with the irons and driving. And also 10 speed little bonus, speed series we did. So it's really 30 videos all about hitting the ball farther. We will put out a code like all of our lives for half off. I'll probably say it in like 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll say it a couple times throughout if you want to get half off of that individual masterclass. I don't think for this one we're doing half off on all of them because we didn't talk about that. So we're going to do half off on the distance class that I'll say the code in between. Hope you guys saw today's video on that. Okay, here we go. Tom, how do you lower dynamic loft without getting steep? So when we're lowering dynamic loft is primarily controlled by the angle of the shaft, right? So shaft lean. If my shaft is leaning or angling more towards the target, the loft would be lower. If my shaft is angled more back, the loft would be higher. Now, when I present that shaft more forward or more back, really I can do that regardless of swing direction. I can do that from inside, outside, up, down. Now, the other part you mentioned, though, in terms of angle of attack is, dynamic loft is angle of attack. That is, if I hit more down on the ball, generally speaking, the loft, dynamic loft would be lower. If I hit less down on it, generally speaking, the loft would be higher. The goal would be to have a shallow angle of attack with lower loft. How do you do that without getting steep? Is you learn how to shallow the angle of attack, Tom. It really would depend on why you would be steep in the first place, but I don't think they have to go together, meaning you don't have to be steep to lower the loft. You can get the handle forward, right? Assuming you have good swing direction, get the handle forward, have the handle working up and left, have your body working up and left to keep the handle forward, good rotation, good club face alignment, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully that answers that. Kevin, good time for a grip tutorial from your perspective. Sure. So grip for right-handed golfer, a couple things that I'm looking for. Number one is getting the heel pad here. The heel of your left hand is pad, more on top of the club, not on the side. Heel pad on top. Some players put it kind of 90 degrees right here through your fingers. I tend to have a little bit of an angle there, kind of through the first knuckle and then the end of the pinky hand. I would prefer to get the V's of the lead hand at the right collarbone. I would place my right hand kind of right over that grip there. So from my view, it would look kind of like this. From here, it would look like this. So I would get both of the V's at about my trail collarbone for a stock grip. So my left hand, if I were to kind of hang it, is turned in maybe 45 degrees. Heel pad on top, V over there, and then right hand covers that V like that. That would be neutral, kind of neutral there. You go stronger, weaker, adjust some things. But that would be kind of normal. I don't care much whether you go overlap, interlock, baseball, whatever. But that would be where I would typically put the club for most people. Importance of left arm connection on the downswing. So yeah, we just did like really 2 videos today on this. We did 2 more videos today. They'll come out probably next week, I think. And about the left arm on the body lines, it's important for a couple different things. Number one is swing direction. So when I go up to the top, if my left arm is in some amount, right here, let's say at my setup position, my hands are over my toes. When I go here, my left arm during my takeaway is just slightly in. At left arm parallel, it's about in line with my right pec, right bicep. So it's in some amount, 20, 30, 40 degrees. And then it's up over my trail arm. as I begin back down, I want to have that back in line with my right pec. So I don't want to have it come straight out. I want to have it back in line with my right pec. Now, the more in my left arm is on my way down, the easier it is to have a swing direction more from the inside. Now, like anything in golf, though, you can overdo that. You can have your arms too far behind you, and that presents its own problems. But having it in is good for swing direction. The second thing is for distance and power. If I have my left arm up against my pec, let's say I'm squeezing my left bicep against my pec at the top, and I keep that as I come down, that's like a spring that I can fly off of later in the downswing. If I come off of that early, I have no power from there. So important to keep the lead arm deep and against the pec for both swing direction and for speed. Let's see, drills for improving launch angle. Assuming you want to hit the ball higher with the launch angle, how you would do that would be a couple different things with your driver. I would check setup first. So if I wanted to hit more up, let's say, or if I wanted to launch the ball higher, I would be looking primarily at angle of attack and dynamic loft. So typically, let's say with the driver, you want to hit it higher. Usually I'm not adding loft to a driver, sometimes depending on your speed, but I'd be trying to hit more up on it to launch it higher. If I was doing that with the driver, I'd get the ball, make sure the ball's far enough forward, kind of off your lead shoulder. I'd make sure I had some tilt at address, probably at least 10 degrees. I would take big turn and good enough depth at the top. And then in initial downswing, I would keep that head back on that line from the top until about left arm parallel. From left arm parallel into the follow through, you could even back out of it a little bit. We did a video called How to Keep Your Head Behind the Ball to Hit It Farther. If you want to check that one out. And you'll see a lot of those drivers, they're on the line up to the top. They stay on the line, but then from about left arm parallel to the bottom, they actually back up as they turn to hit more up on it. That's how I would typically do that. But like literally, if you just, like, let's say your downswing's too far over the top, that jacks up everything I just said. Like, this is assuming your swing direction's good and your club face in line. If your club face is too open, or your swing direction's jacked up, or your wrist angles are jacked up, or you pull down too much from the top, none of that shit I just talked about is going to work very good. So you have to kind of make sure all that stuff's good in the first place. So some of you guys heard before, Mary just posted that I'm seeing on here now, our distance masterclass. Our distance masterclass did launch this morning. Again, 30 total videos plus a curated YouTube video list of videos that we want you to watch from that. The code we're going to do for 50% off on the distance masterclass, will be good through midnight tonight, is Shane Lowry, the British Open champion, Shane Lowry, ShaneLowry, one word, Shane Lowry, 50% off the distance masterclass. It's on there for $77, so you get it for half of 77. Mary, quick math? She's not sure. Half of 77, 50% off, Shane Lowry distance product.
77.
Everyone who is a member of CogornoGolf.com that's on here or is thinking about it, you get free access to all of the master classes. The distance one we did, shallow your downswing, rotation, senior, what else do we do? Slice fix. There's going to be, we're doing like one a month. So you get access, early extensions on this. You get access to all that. Shane Lowry, 50% off. Warren, would you consider doing a thorough short pitching around the green video, not chipping? Yeah, Warren, we did a couple of chipping videos. We did 2 or 3 stock chipping. We did chipping versus pitching. And then we did wedge zone. So tell me what you would want specifically regarding pitching, not chipping. I could probably even talk about it right now. A lot of the mechanical pieces are the same as we talked about in that video. I also did some chipping videos on trajectories. Talked about the differences between hitting low, medium, and high. So if you search my name in chipping, there's probably like 5 or 6 videos that come on there. On CogornoGolf.com, we have more along those. Not a ton of the wedge videos, but definitely a lot more than is on there. But let me know what you want to know there. Let's see here. Sorry, I skipped some people in here. How important do you consider club fitting to be for a 10+ handicap? It could potentially be important. It's as important as how far the club's off for you, meaning if your clubs are like drastically off what you need. Let's say you're someone who needs like extra stiff shafts and whatever, and you have like senior flex, then yes, it's going to make a huge difference. If your clubs are kind of what you should have, it will make less of a difference, but still a difference. But a club fitting, if you go to a good fitter, is always good. Like, I can drive my Mazda back and forth and I'm fine, but like, I'd love to drive a Porsche. Like, that would be cool. That would be better. I don't need a Porsche, but maybe I'd have more fun getting there. Like, you getting a club fitting would be good. Like, I don't think it's necessary 100%. I think if you're a 10 plus handicap, there's skill pieces that are as important. I never got a fitting my whole life and got to the point where I shot 64 10 times, never getting a fitting. So I don't think it's the only way, but I think if you're going to do it, or if financially, like if money's not an issue at all, I would 100% get a fitting. So yeah. I noticed Shane Lowry's right thumb finger come off the grip a bit. Like, VJ, can this help create lag? Maybe. I wouldn't do it on purpose. You know, when he comes down actually at the top, you can see he gets a little bit cupped with the left hand. He gets a little bit strong, and he gets a little bit cupped in early transition. But if you watch him from there, he does an excellent job of getting rid of that cup from about here into impact. You can see he adds a lot. He goes from cup into flex. He adds a bunch of flexion, a bunch of supination at the bottom, and then rolls a little. So from here, he's kind of cupped. He's bowing that down and curling it. From here, he's cupped. He's kind of bowing that down this way and curling it past impact. I wouldn't recommend taking fingers off the club to increase lag or anything, no. Thoughts on stack and tilt pattern? I like a lot of the stack and tilt pattern. Stack and tilt, when they first came out, was revolutionary for us in the golf industry. They're really the first people that were kind of across the board talking about 3D motion and turning and tilting and extending. The books they came out, the DVDs they came out with, Mike and Andy did an awesome job. Like anything new that comes out, you get heavily criticized, right? The information as it goes down the line kind of gets jacked up a little bit. So some of the stuff in terms of what they actually talk about in the stack and tilt system, and a lot of the coaches that I'm friends with that are awesome coaches, I think it provides a really nice platform to learn from. I think when they're talking about the movements, three-dimensional, getting the hands in, the depth, everything they're talking about is cool. I think the one sticking point some people have an issue with is how far towards the target. Typically the pelvis would be here, and or how much lateral they would create on the way down. I think if you're someone who's a beginner golfer, if you're someone who hits a slice or looking to get to the point to where you hit it really solid, a lot of stack and tilt stuff would be excellent. It's really focused on creating a draw pattern. And it's a really systematic way to learn golf. So I think overwhelmingly positive. I think like any system you'd put out that's even great, you could nitpick some little things, but overwhelmingly positive, overwhelmingly good for the golf community and for golf coaches. A lot of us learned a lot from stack and tilt, and yeah, I think good things. Would you consider doing a thorough short? I already read that. Hello. Downswing transition move. Move left knee first, rotate hips first, start arms down, feel a squat, turn the left hip first. Who is correct? So when you start the downswing, regardless of feel, like as measured, if you watch Athletic Motion Golf, you guys have watched their channel. Sean and those guys do an awesome job. I would check out their videos on here. Guys who actually measure with gears what goes on. A bunch of different people who have gears that do that. It's ground up, right? It's cliche and it's true. So when you go from the top, the pattern from here, it's the feet are going, right? Depending upon what you do with your left heel, the feet are going, the leg is going, the pelvis is going, the rib cage and thorax is going, the arms are going, and the club is going. Now keep in mind when we're breaking that up, like in reality, it's all happening in like a really short period of time. So it's like almost everything is going, right? But when you start down, you want to have that foot replant if you're up. Let's say your foot's not planted. As you begin down, your left leg should reflex and turn out, ideally. How much you do this or this is, you can do different ways, but you would want your left leg to reflex and turn out. You want your left hip, because it should be lower at the top, stays lower as you turn. Your right leg from back here should regain flex and turn. Your knee should be back to parallel. All that should be happening as your arms and hands are just kind of barely starting down in transition. Guys who say they feel their arms pull down in front are usually guys that are too far under plane, are typically really good players who get too far dumped under, who get too shallow, who haven't turned enough, who do whatever, and they need to get their arms and hands back to match that pattern or to avoid being too far dumped under. That's usually the case. Again, with a lot of this stuff, it's micro, it's very individual, but starting things with the body motions and the lower body first. We just did a video today on some of this, which will come out next week too. Kind of will explain this in more detail. We did some other videos if you search my name and how to start the downswing, but I don't think that's really so much of an opinion. Like a lot of the videos we do too, guys, I hope, like I'm not really doing videos that I'm trying to do them where like we don't do it based on just my opinion of something. It's really just based on actual measured facts or visual things. Like if we see and we post a video up. So I'm trying to stay away from, hey, here's what I think goes on. It's like, here's what goes on. kind of take that in, and then let's figure out how to feel it and improve the swings. Hopefully that answers that. I'm not sure if it does or not. Rick, I saw a Rick. Hi, Eric. Recently recorded my swing and noticed I'm chunking and hooking more often after watching you and Gigi. This is a good testimonial. Should I focus on more shoulder rotation? I swing from inside and chicken wing. Rick, yeah, so this is one of those scenarios where I have to, I see Paula commenting right there. I would have to see your swing to be able to say for sure. So I need to know, Rick, why you were hitting I think you said you're chunking and hooking. I need to know why you're hitting chunks and hooks for me to be able to fix that. That's why we created CogornoGolf.com, so you could go on there, join the site, post your swing so I can actually see your swing videos, unless you can come see me in person. But if I can't see your swing and say why you're chunking out, I don't know how to fix it, those individual patterns like that. So for all you guys that ask the swing questions like that, when I say that, again, not trying to be a dick, but that is why we made the site. I do need to see your swing to see that. If you're chunking and hooking, that, a low point problem that's also creating a curve to the left, it is pouring outside, in case our stuff goes off. A chunk and a hook typically would lead me to think, hey, you might be too far under plane during your downswing. So if I make a downswing pattern and I take my setup and I drew a line up the shaft in line with my belt buckle, I want that club to kind of ride back that plane line during my late downswing. If you're hitting chunks and hooks, I would guess that you're probably too far under the plane, and or you don't rotate enough, and or you have early extension problems. So I would watch some things like how to never hit a hook. You search my name and hook. I would watch the rotation, the extension videos, but again, I'd have to see your swing to say. Kevin, you're welcome. Paula, no lefties, you know that already. Purely GoPro. Eric, what usual root causes for hanging back do you see normally? When I see someone hang back, usually there's something they did earlier on, like you said, a root cause to do that. Lots of times that's an open club face or a steep downswing. So if I come down and my club face is drastically open here early in my downswing, a lot of times people will hang back in an effort to kind of try and desperately square that club face up. Or if my face is open, I'm just really trying to square a club face up. Or if I get overly steep on the way down, and if I were to do this, and I had a really good posture, if I'm like way overly steep, and I would just run into the ground, I a lot of times from there will back up to try and help shallow the club out. So I'd say usually being too steep or open club face would be that reasoning. Trying to fix something. Usually when you're trying to fix something earlier, open club face and steep downswing are like two of the kind of all the time things. Let's see. Just want to say thank you for all your videos and instruction. You're very welcome. Shot my best round ever yesterday and lowered my handicap by 2.4. Your advice has really helped. That is beautiful. You are very welcome. Thank you for watching. Frank, what's up, dude? It appeared that Lowry's right shoulder stayed internally rotated throughout the swing. Is that possible? Does the right shoulder need to go external rotation at some point in the downswing? So I don't remember that in particular. I can take a double look at it. But if you watch like a Grant Wade, there's some guys who go up who are more internally rotated. For those who don't know, it's this way. This would be externally rotated. This is internally rotated, kind of flying right elbow. So if you stay more internally rotated during the downswing, usually what happens is your left wrist gets more cupped, right, like this. So if you do that, usually the shaft will get steep and the face will get open. Now, from there, if you recover like Lowry does, like I said before, where you bow this down and rotate it well late, then you can be okay. So if I stay here, the issue is going to be that right arm being internal like this. I'm going to have to bow and roll to square that up late. That's okay if you can do it. He literally just won a British Open, right? And he hit, I think, the most greens in regulation. So yeah, anything can work if you kind of match the stuff up. But it's also different. Like those guys, there's other factors there. They're playing golf every day. We're always not. Some of them have elite eye-hand coordination. Some of us don't. Like there's a lot of variables involved with what works. But if I get my elbow back in front, this right shoulder going external really works to lay the shaft down, right? Like that's a big portion in terms of shot on the shaft. Usually when it goes this way, the shaft is going to stay vertical. But if it's a lesser thing, it's not as exaggerated, the shaft can be a little bit more in front. My right shoulder will be this way, it's fine. I just have to learn, I got to get my wrist conditions right to be able to flex that down and make that work. But you can, you're not going to be a Dustin Johnson who has like Dustin Johnson gets his elbow so far in front because his face is so shut. And like because his face is so shut, he has to get his elbow in front. We talked about this, Frank, to not hit it to the left. He didn't learn how to get his elbow in front and then got his face shut. His face was shut first, and then his elbow got in front to be able to prevent that. So If your right arm's a little more internal, like this, usually your face will be a little bit more open. You'll have a little bit more throw at the bottom. You can do that. Yeah, you can do it. Sam Adams, reverse pivot fix, please. So I don't think so. So reverse pivot, I'm assuming you're saying that during the backswing, like your head's moving towards, if you use this little white line in the back, I'm assuming you mean if your head's moving towards the target on the way back. The fix for that would be record yourself with the video in front, draw a line around circle. And for you, the feel would be to get your shoulder line to the right. Let's say you normally move towards the target 2 inches. You probably need to feel like you move away from the target about a foot. And when you record it, it'll look perfect. The goal would be, in simple terms, we did a PGA Tour checkpoint for like the perfect backswing with Adam Scott from Face On. You would draw a circle around your head, and when you make a backswing, you stay in that circle. That's kind of the general idea. So if you're moving too far this way and potentially have too much extension or too much pressure on your lead leg, there's a bunch of reasons, too much hip tilt, there's a lot of different things that could happen there to create that. Let's say you're this way. You would want to feel like your chest and head and upright are moving a little bit more off of it. Potentially like you turn a little bit more level here. But I have to see why you're tilting to the left, right? But you have to feel like you're off the ball a little bit. Use video, exaggerate the opposite so you can find middle. Usually, like I said, when you go too far towards the target, you could have too much left side bend. You could have too much extension. You could have too much pressure in your lead leg. All of those things. You might have to feel like you unweight your lead leg a little bit. Get your chest and head moving off of it a little bit more like old school kind of Tiger when he first came out, just so you can find a center. Let's see. And if you search my name in centered too, I kind of go over that in a little bit more detail. Thoughts on the non-conforming drivers at the Open? The only thing I saw on it was, yeah, Xander Schauffele was the only, I saw a little thing pop up. This time of year, we're so crazy, bang, 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 bang. I don't even like see any news or no, I literally don't know what's going on with the world at all outside of our membership site and our YouTube videos and our golf schools. And Shane Lowry, yeah. But I saw that one. Honestly, I don't know a lot about it. I didn't look into it. I saw that he was saying they only tested maybe like 25 guys or 30 guys I saw. So like my initial thought is if you're going to test driver, you should test everyone in the field. Not just a select group, not even a random group of 25 or 30, not random anything. If you're going to test, I think, now again, I don't know enough about it. The RNA knows more than me about running tournaments, but I would assume I would test everyone, not just a handful of guys. If they are non-conforming, I don't know why it was non-conforming or why they should be non-conforming. I don't know are the rules different for the RNA versus he. I don't know why that would happen. I don't know why like the club company would put a club out that they knew were non-conforming. I would assume they didn't even know it. Maybe something got messed up. I don't think there's any like ill intention there. I think that just, but if you're going to test someone, you would test everyone. But if you guys know more details than that, feel free to share them. I didn't really see a lot of them. John, can you demonstrate why the setup stance makes a difference for handicap golfers, i.e. trying to take too wide a stance with the driver irons that cause resistance in the swing? So, I mean, in terms of stance width in general, with an iron, like with a wedge, I would have the ankles kind of just inside shoulders, 8 iron, 7 iron, 6 iron, middle irons, kind of ankles at or just outside of shoulders. The more narrow you get your feet like this, like a chipping, the less you can shift pressure back and forth and rotate. You want to have at least a baseline where I can shift some pressure. I want to be able to, like if I'm so close, I really can't unweight my left foot and turn enough. If I'm more neutral, I can unweight and pivot on both sides. With the driver, I want to be even a little bit wider so I can unweight even more and then re-push down and push back up. But there's a point where you can go too wide or too narrow. It also depends on height and other things. Like generally speaking, guys who are shorter in stature can have a little bit more narrow stance. If I'm super tall, like I had a guy in my last golf school who was 6'7" last week. If I'm really tall, I sometimes have to have, if I get a wider stance, see how I get shorter? So here's me normal. Narrow stance, I'm very tall. Wider stance, I get shorter. And so sometimes like the taller you are, you have to widen the stance out a little bit. Or if you're short, you can go a little bit more narrow. But if you get too narrow, you can't shift pressure. That's good for wedges. You want to be precise. You don't need power. For driver, when I want to produce a little bit more power, I want to have a little bit more of a base there. But as long as you're kind of shoulders even with the, or ankles even with the shoulders, the irons just outside with the driver, you should be okay with that. I have a lot more issues with people just set up with ball position, with tilting, with aim, balance point, stuff like that than feet width. Ron, had a chance to play Sunday. Asked the player they matched me with. Maybe there's another story down there. Warren, regarding the pitching around the greens, I was referring to various situations with different lies, 10 yards are in, so many different methods taught. Thanks. Yeah, it's on the list of YouTube videos for us to do on the course, uphill lies, downhill lies, and different lies in the rough around the greens. We haven't, it's on the list. So at some point in time, we will probably do that. We are going to do a wedge masterclass next. So maybe we'll put that in there. Maybe we'll put that in there. Yeah, maybe we'll put that in there. Yeah, for those that are on that weren't before, our distance masterclass did launch today. The code, it's a coupon code for 50% off our distance masterclass is Shane Lowry, ShaneLowry, 50% off. It was $77 normally. It's 50% off. Again, 20 videos in the class plus a 10 video speed series on this, over 30 videos. All on the masterclass. And the other masterclass shows that haven't seen all the other topics that are on there. CogornoGolf.com members do get free things. We just put like a little commercial promo in there, like every minute. Let's see. Eric, how early in the backswing should I feel the load into my trail leg? Is it better to get into it early during the takeaway or later after the shoulder? So I would say you get into your backswing right away. So if I'm taking my normal setup position and I'm here and the pressure in my feet's 50-50, I'm going to feel like I'm unweighting my left foot and or increasing pressure into my right foot right off the bat. So I don't go normal and then do it. You can go normal to here and then press it. But most people I see on there, it's almost instant. In fact, a lot of players, when you watch their pressure plates, they press into the left as a trigger and then they push back into the right as they go. So I would say you do it kind of right away as you go back. Not ridiculous. I mean, you're shifting pressure in your feet, but your body's still pivoting pretty centered. It's not as though I'm getting all of my mass off of the ball. There's a pressure shifting. Like I said, a lot of guys will kind of push into their left to create a reaction as you go back. You can have a little bit of freedom with the lower body, keeping the upper centered as you work back. But I would do it right away, more or less. Kevin, having issues taking a divot. I used to, but now it's a sweeping shot that still feels okay, but I played better with taking divots. I can choose 78 to 82. So usually if you're having a hard time taking divots, that typically is a swing direction thing. Now there could be other pieces, could be early extension, et cetera, but I would check a couple pieces. If you're playing good, if it's a swing direction thing and you weren't taking divots, I would expect you hitting like draw pattern. That would mean you'd hit some fat, some thin, typically thin if you're not taking divots, pushes, hooks, and maybe some heel or toe contact, but kind of push hook pattern. If it's the more during my downswing that I swing the club from behind me and get shallow and swing from the inside, the less I'm gonna take a divot. The more I swing the club kind of over the top or steep this way, the more I'm gonna take a divot. So part number one I would check would be swing plane, more under plane, less divot, more over plane, more divot. Meaning if you're under plane, you might have to feel a little bit more over the top type of thing, exit more left, et cetera. We did a video, if you search my name called Hook, search my name in Hook, where basically you put like an object, you can even just do a bucket. Let's say you took a normal setup position like this, and I put a range bucket between the ball and my feet. So I'd be like here, I put a range bucket halfway between my feet and the ball. So if I'm normally too shallow, that would make me hit the little deal here. So I can even just do some little ones, feeling like the club stays out in front of me more. And that would help me take a divot. The second piece, if it's not swing direction, would be body motions, meaning during my downswing, if I early extend, my chest gets farther from the ground, I stand up, my hips work forward, that's gonna be like no divot. If I wanna take more divot, I wanna steepen my body angles, meaning from the top of the backswing, I wanna feel like my left shoulder works down as I work down. I wanna feel like my chest works down, right? So from this angle, I wanna feel like my left shoulder and left hip stay lower. I work and exaggerate this. The closer my body gets to the ground, the greater chance of a divot. The farther my body gets from the ground, less chance of a divot. So get you and your chest and body closer, steepen the swing plane. Let's see. Joey, what do you think about feeling like your swing speed is post-impact versus pre-impact? Yeah, I think that's fine. You know, I think if you look at a good golf swing, the speed would be happening kind of a foot or two or three after the ball. I'm not making a motion where I'm at it so much. I'm making a motion where I'm rotated and I'm out this way in front of the ball, right? I'm rotated and I'm out this way. I don't know if that's going to fix any of your problems. It could. A lot of times the golf swing stuff is like life, right? When something sounds too easy or too simple, too good to be true, usually it is. Like if you got stuff in your swing that's like, let's say Joey for your backswing, right? We're talking on the site about you going more here instead of going this way. Right, like that sort of stuff needs to be fixed first before any of that kind of other stuff would really matter. A lot of that stuff's gonna be like it works one day, not the next day, versus the root cause stuff. But if it helps, it helps. But definitely speed past the ball, not at it. Let's see, how's it going, Eric? It's going good. Do you have a favorite glove that's durable but still comfortable? Up glove, I like a lot. We did some stuff earlier this year with Up glove, and we haven't done a ton of stuff. Just so we guess we're doing other things. But A, the people at Up glove were awesome. B, the gloves were awesome. The material was really good. They're very affordable, and they ship to you and they send them to you. So I would check out Up glove. Any of the premium gloves, like I had a couple of gloves. I think I had a Callaway glove or two that we used for a little bit. I actually bought a TaylorMade glove earlier this year. I don't buy golf stuff really anymore. But I bought a TaylorMade glove. I don't remember what it was. That was good too. So I think whatever. I liked Up glove a lot. Not just because we had a partnership with them, but I actually genuinely liked the glove itself. Let's see. Video stream quality is great. Thank you, Peter. That's all Mary. Mary got a new little device that we're using, and we just got something else that's going to help too when we're back outside and as we're traveling this winter. If any of you guys are on the East Coast or in Florida, we're going to be traveling in January, February, and March down by you guys. If any of you guys want to hang out or do a school or do a live, we'll be down that way. Live. Ronald, I had a chance to, oops. Hang on. Had a chance to play Sunday. Asked the player who they matched me with YouTube instructors he watches. He mentioned you. You're very popular here in South. That's a beautiful thing. Thank you. We're coming down your way, South Florida. In like a couple months, we'll be down there. Ready. Yeah, get them. We're coming down, baby. Dylan, best drill for not flipping the wrist. You have to figure out why you're flipping in the first place and fix that. Generally speaking, a flip comes from a face that's too open and or a steep downswing or body angles. Like if I had to like bet 10 years of my life as to why someone flips, I would confidently answer club face is too open, and I wouldn't even think twice about it, because that's probably 95% of people who flip, maybe 90 plus. You're flipping to square a club face, right? Like if I flip a club that's open, I can flip it to make it square, but I had to flip it to do it, right? You see what I'm saying? Like if I didn't flip it, the face would be too open. I flipped it to square. Or your downswing's too steep and you're flipping because of that. Or you're doing the downswing, you early extend it for whatever reason, and you have to flip to lengthen the club to get to the ground. So there could be a couple different reasons why you do it. Sometimes you can reverse engineer it, like just fix the end problem and it fixes the earlier. Sometimes you have to fix the earlier problem. If your face is too open, you probably can't reverse engineer it. If it's early extension, you might be able to reverse engineer it. And if it's swing direction, you might be able to. But if it's face, you got to fix the face earlier. If you watch any of the guys on the tour, especially the new guys that hit it really good and they use their swing all the time, Victor Hovland, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, all these younger dudes that come out, the face is more tilted down. Now, not every player. Victor Hovland comes out, seems like he gets like top 20 every time, a rookie, ridiculous. His club face is real tilted down like this during the downswing. Now, if your face is tilted down, then it's closed, right? And you had to hit a ball at a target, you would never flip, ever. You would, with a closed face, get the handle forward so you didn't hit it left, right? All the time. All the kids I've ever taught who had strong grips or closed club faces never flipped, ever. Everyone who I've taught that had a weak grip when they were younger either then became a stud like Matthew Wolff and can flex it down, or if they didn't, they would flip. So it's club face. Peter, what's up, man? How do I get more height and backswing with my middle and long irons while still playing a draw? How you get more height with your middle or long irons is either dynamic loft, angle of attack, or speed. Meaning if you did everything else the same and you just swung faster, the ball would go higher. So that's one, so potentially speed. The second part would be dynamic loft. If you did everything else but had the loft higher, you'd hit it higher, but potentially, depending on other things, maybe shorter. So dynamic loft is one. Or angle of attack. You did everything else the same but swung shallower, less divot, picked it off the ground, more type of stuff, it'd go higher. Those would be the pieces I would look at. Right now, they're low stinger draw, bombs, and often roll over the green. Yeah, so I would look at angle of attack for you, Peter, and make sure that one it would be first. Meaning when you come down during the downswing, if you hit too far down on a ball, it's going to launch too low. If you kind of shallow your angle of attack, it'll launch higher. Let's assume you already had that done. And if you're hitting it good, then you have a speed. Speed's not a problem. It's dynamic loft or angle of attack. So one of those two is off. You're either hitting too far down or your loft is too low, or both. I would bet my chips on your angle of attack being too steep and fixing that if I had to. But again, Peter, if I could see your swing, I would be able to tell you for sure. If you can't figure that out, check out CogornoGolf.com. You could join in there. You can post your swing up. I can help you from there. But I would check the angle of attack stuff first, and then how you would see. This is what's hard is like for me to say to you how you should fix that. It just really depends on why you're steep in the first place, if that's even the problem. Like it just depends. If you're too steep this way because of swing direction, then you need to learn how to get it underneath the stick. That'd be back here. If you're too steep because your hands go down for too long this way, you need to feel like how you rip the hands up and left. If you're too steep because you stay in forward flexion too long, you got to learn how to push the hands or push the belt buckle forward, chest up, and rip the hands up and left. So, some of these circumstances, I really do have to see the swing. That's one of them. If I could see your swing, I could tell you really quickly why that happens, how to fix it. Hi, Eric. I tend to get steep in my downswing as my trail arm and shoulder internally rotate, disconnecting my right elbow away from my body. I can't seem to stop myself from doing this. There's another one too. Like I hate. This is just what it is. It all depends on why you're doing that, where you are at the top. Let's assume you're good at the top and you're going down this way. You need to fix that. You could do a couple different things in terms of drills. Now, I don't know if that's going to fix it. There could be a reason why. Are you fixing something else? I don't know. I'd have to see. You could do the ball between your arms, the Martin Chuck Tour Striker ball between the forearms, and squeeze that together as you work down. You could put a glove underneath your right elbow and not let it get as far away from your arm. You could feel like you actually externally rotate the shaft. There's a lot of different drills to do. Whether they will work permanently or not, I can't say, because I'd have to see your swing as to why that's happening. But you could do some drills like that to try and get them back together. We did a video on internal, external rotation that kind of talked about some of those. If you search my name in internal, external, but squeezing the elbows together, tour striker ball, object under your right arm, those would be some options if that needed to be fixed. Or you could Shane Lowry, according to Frank, and just keep it that way and bow it down. Looking forward to the video. Yeah, that'll be out. That should be out next week. Should your left arm be on the side of your chest or on top at address? So your left arm at the top of the swing or at address? Should your left arm be on the side of your, okay. Should the left arm be on the side of your chest or on top at address? You can do either one. I've seen the left arm in different positions. So I would say as a normal setup position, if I was here, left arm's more on the side of the chest than on the top of the chest. But you could do that. I've seen people where they're more internally rotated with the arm and the elbow's more out towards the target. I've seen some people like a Hogan would talk about having the elbows more down and they're more externally rotated at address. The more externally rotated you are, which would be like this way, kind of this way, palm up, and you have it kind of tucked in like this. The more externally rotated you are there, it's easier to have the club more in front of you. The more internally rotated you are this way, like here, which would be a stronger grip pattern, it's really easy to have the club inside because you're literally presetting your arm rotation. I just dropped a big bomb there and not a lot of people probably caught it, but that is a lot of why this is a good one. That's a lot of why your takeaways are off, is because you start, this is a good question, because you start internally rotated or externally rotated. If your takeaway is too far inside during the backswing, there's a chance you set up too internally rotated. That's why with a strong grip, if you have a strong grip and your arm is turned internal like this, you're literally, here's normal, you're literally presetting an inside takeaway. Right? Here's internally rotated. So here, if you have your elbow more kind of pointed at you, elbow more pointed at you as you do your grip of your upper arm, which is externally rotated, and you keep that externally rotated, really easy to keep the club in front of you. So the elbow's more down towards the ground, externally rotated as you go up like this, and then it internally rotates. If you start this way, if you start internally rotated like this, then you go this way. A lot of that's right at setup. That was an excellent question. And answer. If I will. Hi, Eric. If I miss my putts and hit the heel, what am I doing wrong? Absolutely no idea. I would have to see that one. Could be a path issue. Could be balance in your feet issue. Could be several things. Could be a lot of things like that. What I would do to test it, though, is I would do kind of the old gate drill. Put a tee on the just on the inside, just on the outside, 3 inches behind. Same thing. 3 inches in front, and learn how to get the putter working through there. If you're still hitting on the heel from there, I'd have to see. It could be different things you're doing with your handle location, wrist conditions. There's a lot of different variables. I would have to see that one to say. It's all on the hips. That's right. What is your, what's in your bag? Clubs, etc. What's your favorite training aids? What's in my bag right now is kind of a mix of clubs. I got a Mizuno driver that we got fit from Club Champion that I really like, that I'm hitting farther this year because of that, and also some technique changes. I have Callaway Apex irons in my bag right now that are not even mine. They're my buddy Paul's that I have in there. I have Mizuno wedges. I have an Odyssey 2-ball putter. I have a Callaway Rogue 3-wood that I have not hit yet. And I have a Callaway like driving iron that I haven't hit either. So that's what I got. Callaway, Mizuno. Yeah. Play Titleist balls, Pro V1s. Favorite training aids. I use a lot of sticks, alignment rods, range buckets, noodles, Live View. Yeah, we use Live View a lot, where you can actually see yourself as you're swinging. If you guys haven't checked out Live View, we have the link in the description of all of the videos. You actually see yourself simultaneously. Like that a lot. I use my phone a lot. Lots of sticks for swing direction, hangers sometimes, tour striker balls every once in a while. Let's see. Bill, what changes do you see the pros make Sunday when playing in bad weather? I think a lot of it's just acceptance. I think when they go play, they know it's going to be tough and they're okay with it. And they just expect, like a lot of the scores were really high. JB Holmes shot like 87 or whatever he shot, something super high. Yeah, a lot of those guys shot over par. It's just tough. I think they go slow. I think they take their time. They hit shots a lot. So like when they're playing in the very windy or rain, they're not out there as much, I don't think. Like if I'm playing it super windy, I'm trying to hit shots, meaning I'm taking more club, I'm hitting knockdown shots, I'm trying to kind of curve the ball a little more. When it's nice out and it's not super windy, etc., I don't need to create as many shots like a Bubba Watson. I'm more or less kind of making swings and hitting kind of a stock shot. Like if you watch a pro playing a normal PGA Tour event, they're kind of hitting a stock shot, normal swing. In those windy conditions, they're more curving it around, I think accepting it, probably taking their time more. I don't think they're thrilled. I don't think any of them like it. Some of them that are like, I like playing it. No, I don't think they enjoy it. But they hit more shots. Ryan, what do you think of Tommy's impact position? Should this be something people strive for? Absolutely. Tommy Fleetwood has a beautiful everything in his swing. He has a tendency with the way he tilts his neck and right side bends. He could get a little underplaned. So you can see when he plays, he has a tendency to get a little bit more towards push and hook. But for the greater majority of people watching who aren't shooting under par, those would be good problems to have. Beautiful alignments at the setup for him. Beautiful alignments in the backswing, downswing. If you watch those guys play, we did these checkpoint videos. I'm watching them. I was watching the British Open from real close-up views that they had. All those dudes at setup look about the same. Their back of their armpits and kneecaps are over the balls of the feet. Credit George Gankis for bringing that out. I hadn't heard that before that. All those dudes have that. Back of armpits, kneecaps, balls of the feet. All of them have great posture. Almost all those dudes are going through the handle at some point. Hands through the hands at takeaway. Almost all of them are through the right pec. Almost all of them have a shaft line that's at or inside the ball. And almost all of them have neutral to bowed wrist conditions. If you watch their backswings, because I was watching, making sure I don't have some saying wrong shit in the videos, their setups, their takeaways, their left arm parallels, and their top are all, every dude I saw at the top was like this, or like at worst was like this. But most all of them are stocked here or this way, right? All of them have those setup pieces, all of them have the backswing piece. So a lot of good stuff from Tommy Fleetwood. He can get a little underplaying with his right side bend and his tilts, but that's a good problem. Robert, can't draw a ball to save my life. Is it mostly because of an outside-in swing plane? Yeah, and club face. So path and face, yeah. We did a video called the best drill I've ever seen, 10-4 station with the stick in front and in behind. That'd be a starting point to use. We did a video called How to Use Your Hands, where you would learn some arm supination. We did a video called How to Hit a Draw. At the end of the day, it's all face angle, meaning even if you came over the top, if you learned how to get your face close to your path and you came over the top, you'd hit a pull hook. So it wouldn't be a nice draw, but it would still hook. It would still curve to the left. It would still draw. It would just be a pull draw. But yeah, if eventually you can't hit a draw, that's because of some form of your face is too open and or you're too steep. You need to learn how to close the face first, in my opinion. You need to learn how to close the face first by whatever means necessary. Maybe that's a grip adjustment that's stronger. Maybe that's better wrist conditions. Maybe that's more supination. Maybe that's all of it. I would learn how to hit a flip hook. I would make sure my grip is strong enough. here, learn how to curl it under and supinate, curl it under and supinate, and take like an 8-iron and hit half swings and learn how to shut the face so much that it hook left, hook left, hook left, hook left. And if you can't hit a draw to save your life, that's a beautiful new problem for you. And then after I could do that, like really easily for weeks, I would start to learn how to get my club head working more from lower and inside to match that. And I would build from there. That is an easy fix if you're patient, which is a big if, big if. What causes heel putts? Yeah, same answer as before. I'd have to see your putter to be able to say why that happens. What causes heel putts? Could be several things. Where did I lose myself? Could be path issue. Could be putter path too far inside out that's hitting off the heel. Could be shaft angle issues. Could be wrist conditions. Could be hinging and unhinging rates. Could be hand path issues. There's a lot of things that could cause heeled putts. Speaking of putting, Robert Campbell, it must be raining again if you were inside. We are inside in the beautiful Bethlehem Golf Club studio. Martin Chuck just sent me a little plane mate over there, if you can see in the box. I got to get that, whip that thing out and get to working on that. Instagram's loving the plane mate. Hopefully that works good. We'll do a video on that shortly. Yeah, we're back inside just for today, and then we'll be back out Monday. Hopefully if the weather cooperates. I was a 3 handicap in high school until I broke my shoulder my senior year. Took time off from the game, and it's been a real struggle. Your videos have been amazing and helped me get back to where I want to be. That's beautiful. I am. You are very welcome from both of us, my friend. We're happy to hear that you're back playing and enjoying it. And shoulder issues are tough. I had a shoulder and an elbow. You can see that little scar I got there on my arm there. So I've been there, done that, my friend. Let's see. Hi, oops, thin draws. Hi, Eric, could you talk about playing tight lies around the greens with a wedge? Sure. So tight lies around the greens, a couple different ways to do it. You could go my buddy Phil Mickelson style, hinge and hold, right? I'm just kidding. But you could go more that style where you go the ball back, have the handle more forward and just use leading edge. And you could do that style of chipping like this with the ball back. Now, the issue with that is you have to be precise. Doesn't mean you can't do it. You just have to be precise. You cannot miss hit from there. You can play that, right? Do the same chipping things we would normally talk about. So I'm definitely closer to the ball. The handle's higher, the ball's back. And I'm trying to clip that perfectly off a tight lie. I can do that. I can also play the ball more middle and use the bounce off a tight lie. Again, I got to clip it good. Tight lies, if I'm going to hit a finesse shot, are just hard. There's easier ways to do it, but it's like, you know, how do you hit off a downslope of a bunker to a tuck pin? I don't know. You probably don't, right? You probably just hit it long and you make a par. 2-iron downhill over a pond, just tough, right? Some of the shots are just tough. So I don't think there's any surefire stuff. If you're hitting a finesse shot, if you can hit a low shot, then I'd go ball back, handle forward, play the leading edge, clip it. If I got to go finesse and kind of hit it higher and softer, I'd go more neutral. I'd have the face more open. I don't know if I can hit a ball into the wall here. And I would hit, I'm going to hit one. I would hit and just kind of use the bounce and like that little eye-hand coordination. And I'd let it release a little and I'd clip it like that perfectly. Or I could go like this and I could raise the handle. So I could have the ball and like sometimes if I'm on a tight lie or I have a weird chunky lie around the green tight pin and I got to deaden it, I would raise the handle, get super close to it, almost play it like off the toe, and I'm kind of hitting like like I don't want the heel to dig, right? If my handle gets too low, the heel's going to dig. So I would raise the handle, kind of go off the toe, and then even just kind of play a putt style shot from there. So there's a couple of different ways to do it. Depends on if you want to go low, medium, high with the trajectory. We could do a whole, I mean, we're going to do a wedge masterclass next, and like we could do a whole literally series of videos on just how to play different lies, tight lies, fluffy lies, grass behind the ball, into you, against you, uphill, downhill. I mean, there's so many different scenarios. I see a lot of people, especially in the golf schools, when we play in the uphill chipping lies, like there's this thing like you're supposed to follow the slope, and you shouldn't do that with an uphill chipping lie. If you have an uphill lie on a slope like this and you tilt everything with the slope and swing up it, you're going to have contact issues. On an uphill lie, you should hit into the slope with a chip shot. Uphill lie, you should be leaning. You get an uphill like this, you should be leaning into the slope. You should be hitting into the slope. The follow through should probably stop a little bit. You should take more club or take a longer swing length. When you get downhill lies, then you want to go with the slope. Then you want to swing a little bit more up and a little bit more down the slope with it, but into the hill when you have an uphill lie. I see that wrong all the time. Beginner, is there a preferred hierarchy for learning skills, irons versus driver? Yeah. If you're pure beginner, I would get the setup pieces correct first within reason. I'd check the setup videos. I'd get the stance, ball position, and grip appropriate. I would then watch how to use your arms and hands. I would learn how to flex and supinate and get the club face closed on purpose with like a flip hook, because almost all the problems come from an open club face. If you learn how to get the face closed first and hit these little pull hooks to the left, everything else is gonna be so much easier. Shallow in the downswing, swinging from inside out, rotating more, not early extending, having a good pivot, increasing speed, yada, 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 are gonna be really easy from there. Set up grip first, and then I would go supination and flexion, learn how to hit it left, and then I'd learn how to get my path to the right, and then I'd learn pivot and rotation. If I had a group of 100 new golfers come in, never touch a club before, I would teach every single one of them like that. I'd communicate it different, maybe whatever, but it would be generally that order. Set up grip, flexion, supination, flip hook left, learn how to do the path to get it back to straight, hit flip hooks, learn how to gain power that way, draw all the golf balls, and then learn how to pivot and rotate to take the draw off, and then you're like really, really elite. But you could learn to flip hook and kick your path to the right and shoot under par. I've done it. Most of my players have done that. That's exactly how I would do it. And then I'd learn a distance control system. I'd learn how to chip solid, and then I'd learn chipping landing spots, and then I'd learn trajectories. I'd learn how to gate drill with putting, learn how to get start line first, then start to build speed with ladder drills, then start to learn green reading with marking tees. All of that, by the way, is on cogornogolf.com, right in that order. Kevin, if I get up that way, I'll make an appointment. Would love to have you. You make it easy for the common guy. I'm advanced, but thanks for everything. You are very welcome. Would love to have you, Kevin. Nick, how far down you traveling? Australia? No, we're going down to South Florida. I don't know how far south we're going, South Florida, but we're going to go. Not Australia, no. I think we'll get down to like Fort Lauderdale, so probably just north of Miami. I don't know that we'll go any farther south, but maybe. I don't know. Maybe, we'll see.
We're looking at you, Rob Campbell.
Let's see, yeah. Tom, I'm a low handicap, but on occasion have issues keeping weight on right side, right-handed player, any drills. But I can't keeping weight right side. Tom, you mean weight on the right side, like on your backswing? I'm not sure what you mean there. Because you really don't have to be on your right side. There should be a little pressure shift on your right side, but let me know what you mean there, Tom M. Brian, longtime fan, welcome, thank you, thank you. Used to call on Air Parks now. Yes, right down the street, man. Right down the street. Anyways, I absolutely cannot replicate your footwork. Need to send video. Yeah, which part? Which part are you talking about, Brian, when you the footwork? Is it, so like generally speaking with the feet, what I want to have happen, feet are at or just outside shoulder, trail foot's pretty square, front foot flared. During the backswing, I like to have the left knee working a little to increase a little pivot. The left heel comes off the ground a little bit, pressure's inside right foot. As you begin down, the left leg replants, leg goes out. Pressure works, middle of the feet, kind of middle of the right foot, maybe a little bit towards the heel on the left toe, and then replants back to the left heel, back to the middle of the right foot, working gradually to the left heel from there up as you extend the leg. That's kind of a general overview. Not sure which part you struggle with there, my man, but footwork can definitely help create the rotation of the lower body. It can change the swing plane angles, face control, so it can really control a lot of things. Scott, just watch your video on starting your downswing. Love the thought of the club down the wall, but it feels so hard to get the ball with forward shaft lean. Yeah, I'd have to see from there, Scott, how you're doing that and why that would be the case. I don't think that's universally true, but I understand if it feels that way, maybe relative to how you're doing it. Kevin, should my right wrist at impact be the same with my driver as it is my irons? Potentially not. It all depends on speed. So the more speed you have, the more your right wrist can be bent at impact to have lower dynamic loft. The less speed you have, the less bent back your right wrist can be because you need more dynamic loft. If you're someone who has a lower club head speed, you should not be trying to have the shaft as far forward like this at impact like you see on TV, because those players on TV, specifically the men, have a lot more speed than you do. And so when they have a lot more speed, they can use lower dynamic loft and still have the ball travel high enough and far enough. If you don't have enough speed with your driver and you keep your right wrist bent forever, the ball won't go high enough and won't travel far enough. Now, that's a general answer. If you, during your downswing, throw your angles really early and you look like this, I might say to you, hey, because you throw early, you need to feel like it's held on longer. But in reality, through impact, most everyone here needs to throw the shaft with the driver through impact because you don't have enough speed. When I say don't have enough speed, I mean if you don't have over 100 miles an hour, I'll just use it as a general rule. Like I swing my driver like 115 miles an hour. 110 if I like just woke up, 115 if I'm on the course. So I can have a little bit more of this and I can still hit it 300. If you have like 80 miles an hour, 90, maybe even in the mid 90s, you're probably going to have a little bit of throw to have enough dynamic loft to get it traveling. Okay. Michael, have you always been a fast talker? Yes. Do you have a good drill for increasing my words per minute masterclass? I do. What you should do is do a live, have about 100 people on there, have them do questions, try and get through all of them in 1 hour. No, I've always just kind of talked fast, went fast. I think it's expedited a little bit in the past year or so with Mary and I because there's so much we have to do like each day. And so just like go, 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 go. But yeah, that's how I would learn that masterclass. $77, by the way, for that is.
Half off tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, again, kind of last call on a distance product. 30 videos, hit the ball farther, irons, driver, very thorough step-by-step. Shane Lowry, 50% off, ShaneLowry. Yeah, and all the members at cornergolf.com. Get that for free. If you're a member on here, it was posted in the Facebook video group earlier today. Okay, where am I at here? I've always been fast. I'm having trouble. We have another like 4 minutes. So I'll try and roll through these here quick. I'm having trouble fully getting my left arm straight for a full backswing without feeling strained. What are strategies I can do? I would bet you're not turned enough on the way back. When you make a backswing turn, if I don't turn my shoulders far enough and I have to try and stretch my left arm out, that's tight there. That's hard for me. If I now fully turn myself 90 or more degrees, that's a lot easier. If I'm not turned, see how that pulls my left arm in? Here's me not turned. That's how, see, this is where my hand is in space. This is where my hand is. Now watch when I fully turn. Now I can get that to go a lot farther in space. So I would bet you're not turned enough. I would increase turn, maybe not stretch. Hi, hello. Hi, Eric. Any tips for keeping the lead wrist straight at the top? Yeah, if you're too cupped, right, depends on your grip. If you're too cupped, you want to feel that that's more bowed. How would you do that? You can use a hanger. You can use some of the Tour Striker things. You can use the hanger training aid. Or you can feel like your right wrist gets more bent back, like you're kind of maxing. If you bend your right wrist back as much as you can and place the club in there, that left hand should be flat. You kind of want to max out your right wrist, bend back would be the part. And if you want to shut the face, you'd max it out and kind of turn it like towards the camera a little bit like that. But you would want to max it out or curl that part under. It depends on your grip too. Any chance you're coming to Europe, especially Germany in the future? Maybe. I'm admittedly not a big traveler. Mary's a little bit more traveled than I, meaning a lot more traveled. So it's not on the schedule, but maybe we'll see. How do you plan to play a course in a competition you've never played before and no course got available? I would Google Earth it. Would you speak to the pro about course conditions? Yes. Any other tips? I would Google Earth it. You could draw lines in there and see carry distance, see around the greens. That's what I used to do with all my players before, like all the apps and everything were out. Yeah, Hold 19 you can use to see some of the stuff. There's different apps out that can help with that. I would use Google Earth. Any glare issues with live view? I have not had that, no. Do you recommend pre-turning your head with driver so you can rotate more before running into chin with your shoulders and stopping the backswing short? Do you recommend pre-turning your head with the driver? Oh, kind of like a Jack Nicklaus this way before turning your chin and the shoulders, stopping the backswing short. Or I'm not sure if you mean on the way back or on the way down. I don't mind a little preset of the chin and the neck this way to help the turn on the way back. And I like the chin to work this way, but not right away. Like you should be 90 at the top and still 45 here. So I would kind of keep the chin and neck back. But now from left arm parallel during the downswing on the way through, then I would like the eyes and the chin to go out from there and rip the chest open. But that piece from the top to like kind of the initial part, you need to stay back for a second so you can maintain width, and then you can rip that open if that's what you mean there. Chad, what's the best way to get reliable yardages? You're local. From Allentown. Yeah, it's real close, man. Maybe I should just book a time with you. Shout out Allentown Central Catholic Golf Team 1999. Yeah, a lot of friends went to Allentown Central Catholic that we played. How to get your yardages? Ideally, you'd have a TrackMan. We probably don't have one of those. You could do something with me, but I probably don't have anything until like literally the end of October. You could go on the course and kind of hit a couple balls, use a rangefinder. Hard to do on the range because you can't see, but I'd probably say your best bet's on the course at kind of in the evening when no one's there, dropping multiple balls and using it. If you get on TrackMan, that would help as well. Or do a club fitting. You know, you could kind of do that simultaneously. How can DJ be so bowed and strong grip and not duck hook? Because he gets his trail arm so external, he has so much right side bend. he can get his elbow so far in front and get his hand that far forward. He doesn't hit the ball left. And then he also exits really hard to the left around that. Lots of rotation, external rotation, the trail shoulder, hands very far forward, lots of right side bend are the technical parts. How do you get your left arm straight during your backswing? I can't keep it straight with a higher backswing. Turn more. Let me give you a simple way to do this. Okay. Grind and bounce will play a factor off a tight lie chipping. Yes. Yes. You can use bounce off a tighter lie, or you can use leading edge, but you have to be really precise with it. When you get fluffier lies or more grass, it's easier to use the bounce off of that, harder off of a very tight lie. Okay, I'm going to roll through these last three quick. Eric, I have this tendency to elevate my plane and my backswing during my round. Your lessons about depth and shoulder turn have helped me in practice, but old habits die hard in the course, I guess. You have to exaggerate as much or more on the course as you do in the range. Fool's gold to think that you're going to go on the range. We put out this on-course video. Yeah, we just put a video on Saturday, how to take your range feels to the course. Not a lot of people watched it. I don't know if we got to change the title or what. I don't know what you guys think about the on-course stuff. I thought it was really good. But you have to exaggerate your feels. I talked about this in that video. You have to exaggerate your feels on the range as much on the course or maybe more. Everyone thinks I'm going to go to the range, do enough reps, and it's going to magically appear on the course. That's not how it works. You have to feel it big time. So you probably have to exaggerate more. For me, I get too vertical. I'm trying to get more on my left shoulder. I feel like my left arm's almost around my hip when I'm on the course. I answered that left arm question a couple times for you there, my friend. I went to the driving range, had 160 balls, 15 degrees of launch, but my driver was only 250. Can't go over 250 carry. It's anything to do with lower spin. I went to the driving range. I had 160 ball speed, 15 degrees of launch. My driver was only going 250. I don't know. I'd have to kind of run some numbers based on the other pieces like that off the top of my head while I'm rushing here. I don't know the answer to that. Played the amateur tournament this weekend. Shot JB Holmes. Oh, you hit the ball well, couldn't score. Any recognition how to avoid big numbers? Yeah, how to avoid big numbers. I mean, Ryan, you have to have mechanics in place, have to have a predictable ball pattern, have to know where the ball's missing. I think when big numbers come in is when maybe you don't have ball control enough to know what you're missing. I would eliminate one side of the course, only miss on one side, and then play for that. And then you also have to get tournament reps in, right? Like if you're playing a tournament, like some guys come in, they play one tournament per year. I was talking to one of my guys the other day about this, and then they expect to do good. Like you need to, like the reason to me, Tiger in these past two majors didn't play well is because he didn't play any tournaments beforehand. That's foolish. You need to be in that environment as much as you can before. You play several tournaments. So what I would say is you got to put yourself in the heat of the battle more often. Have your mechanics in a place where you eliminate the big miss. Have a one-way ball pattern that you hit all the time and miss only one way. So that's what I would do, Ryan. And then, a lot of the other little ancillary stuff, picking good targets, being conservative where you're supposed to, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I'm going to get the plane made out right now. We're going to go. Hope everyone enjoyed this. Again, one last time, distance product, 30 videos. These master classes can really help you guys when you're looking at one particular topic. This is one of those that I think is really good. Shane Lowry is 50% off. ShaneLowry. Everyone can hit the ball farther. No one here doesn't hit it far enough. We could all hit the ball farther. Members of CogornoGolf.com, you get access to all the master classes for free. If I said to you, I need to see your videos because I genuinely meant it. I know if I could see your guys' video, I could really genuinely help you guys get a lot better, but that's the way it has to roll. So I would do CogornoGolf.com, get a premium membership, get in the Facebook group, and save up your money, man, $39 a month. So hopefully everyone had fun here. We'll be back outside, barring weather, next Monday. And thank you guys. I'll see you guys next week.